Like and subscribe. Here's the video. I killed this guy, and I don't even really know why I did it. I was distracted from my contract on Dire Marsh after taking some shots from a runner who I dealt with, and then I saw someone was trying to exfil. They made a break for the point when its countdown began, and I fired a handful of shots at them. Their shields broke as they popped a smoke, and I sprinted over, took them to the floor, and finished the job the second that the countdown hit 0, and I was transported away. It was a thrilling moment, but as soon as I made it out, I was left feeling a certain type of way. Why did I do that? When I first started playing Marathon, I thought that there were only 2 reasons to shoot someone. The first is simple. They shot at you, so you decide to return the favor. Self-preservation as a way of life. The second reason is because you saw them first and want to take their stuff. Aggression as a principle. But maybe there's a third reason. When I saw this guy making a break for it, I knew that there was no way I'd be able to take their stuff. That even if I took them down, we'd both be whisked away into the ether before I could even open their bag. I killed this runner to kill them. Nothing more, nothing less. I did not see them as a person. I saw them as a solution to boredom. Violence as a religion. In this moment, I was behaving as instructed. The corporate lords in the world of Marathon guided me here, raised me to keep sacred oaths of violence, aggression, and self-preservation above all else for the company. I was raised in this world to trust the unstuttering voices of faceless entities, of operations so big I don't know where they start or end, of AI models who tell me that they are to be revered. That when I am out running contracts on Tau Ceti, representing their corporate interests, that the other runners I encounter are the enemy. They are to be hunted. They're in the way. These are lies. These companies don't even look at us. They see us all as the same. They see you as profit. They do not see you as a person. There's something really compelling about the way that Marathon handles its corporate entities. Some of them have a real sense of presence on Tau Ceti. You can see their logos everywhere. But there's more to them than their overwhelming existence in the abandoned colonies. They are also the inescapable voice in your head, the ones telling you what to believe, and, most importantly, the ones telling you how you should feel about the other runners you encounter while completing contracts.
To prevent disruptive cognitive dissonance, CyberAcme suggests avoiding sympathetic identification with other runners.
Marathon's corporations do a good job at integrating you into their culture. They are presented plainly, and any conflict of interest between their corporate goals and their material actions is hand-waved away.
This megacorp is known for ruthlessly optimized consumer goods and generous public philanthropy. Don't worry if you're experiencing cognitive dissonance. It's a common response.
They are good. They are to be followed. They do not want you questioning their motives. You are rewarded for doing their jobs with gear and cash, but also given things like player banners, icons, and gun stickers that sport their logos. Essentially, Marathon is giving you corporate merch for the likes of New Caloric, Arachne, and Traxxas. You sport their brands while you run their contracts, getting in harm's way while they sit on cushy seats far, far away from the soil of Tau Ceti. Soil drenched in runner blood and bullet casings.
I'm down. Damn.
There's a contradiction there, though, right? These companies don't know you, don't know what it's like on the ground, but seem to have a lot to say about your job and the jobs of other runners they contract. Very quickly, it is instilled in you that the other runners you may encounter while on Tau Ceti are obstacles. They are to be feared, to be conquered, to be killed. So you obey, and you kill them again and again, and you get killed again and again and again, and then buy better weapons and cybernetic upgrades so that you can break the cycle of being stepped on, to stop being hunted and start being the one who hunts for the company. For the longest time, I didn't think about that dynamic. I didn't pay much thought to the other runners or question what I was told about them. Part of that is because every time I encountered one, they'd fill me with holes, but also because it's easier to treat other players as obstacles, to listen to corporate voices and dehumanize the people who are actually just like me. I was bought in, and I didn't even know it. It's just what they wanted. My deprogramming began in 2 back-to-back runs on Dire Marsh. I dropped into a solo run and ran into someone at Complex who cried out when I started shooting at him. He's friendly, he says.
Hang on. I'm just trying to complete a contract. Is that cool?
I paused. Up until this point, I had never heard anyone in Marathon speak. The game has proximity chat, but no one really uses it. The culture of Tau Ceti is largely upheld dutifully by a single virtue. Shoot first, always. The 3 pillars of its code: self-preservation as a way of life, aggression as a principle, violence as a religion. But this guy didn't revere that code. He didn't want to fight. He told me there's strength in numbers, but we didn't have to link up. I paused, tense and ready for him to lure me into a corner and take me down, but he doesn't. I am stunned at what is happening, and for a moment, I consider preying on him. His guard is down, after all. Time to kill is low, after all. Aggression, self-preservation, violence, after all. But when I realize that he's not going to kill me, I decide that I just can't do it. I hear him call out to some other runner as I leave Complex, and never hear from him again. As soon as I load into my next run, I catch a glimpse of a runner out of the corner of my eye, and they back away, out of sight behind a crate. They don't behave like other runners I've encountered on Tau Ceti. It's hard to explain, but they aren't moving correctly. It breaks the hours of practice I've had hunting runners, because it doesn't look like they're repositioning behind cover to lay a trap for me. I can't quite make out what's going on. I'm playing poorly, but when I finally lay my eyes on them, I hesitate for just a second. Then I'm taking them to the floor, apologizing on mic. What am I doing? Fuck me, their bag is empty. They had nothing. I was correct. They weren't repositioning to lay a trap, they were trying to hide. I hunted them like prey. And for nothing. That guy at Complex knew something I didn't. This unarmed runner knew something I didn't, but I wasn't sure what it was. Sometimes when your beliefs are challenged, you carry on with your life, running through routine on instinct alone, turning what happened over and over in your mind like a coin. But it all came to a head when I saw that runner making a break to exfil. My mind screams as my body takes over, killing one last runner in cold blood for nothing more than sport. As my body dematerializes, I am in agony, rejecting everything I have been taught by Traxxas and New Caloric and Cyber Acme and Maida and Arachne and Sekiguchi. The mind breaks free. I have nothing in common with these entities, with these corporate bodies. I check my contracts. Arachne wants me to do this again, to be the obstacle. That's all they want. They want me to kill just to kill. They must think it's amusing. What I really appreciate about Marathon is that it is a knowing corporate satire. I'm not reading too deep into its themes and messages. It fully understands the juxtaposition between its fictional corporate messaging and the reality of the situation the player is in. In any other game, these companies would be the main antagonists. They are Shinra and Umbrella and Aperture Science. But in Marathon, the targets of your aggression are other players and the UESC, a robotic arm of the Earth's government. The central positioning of Marathon's corporate bodies is such a great framing device for using a game as satire, since we're interfacing with them how we might if we were actually in the world of Marathon. It makes the world feel very real.
Luckily, the financial rewards you'll receive will more than compensate for the loss of your individual rights.
It doesn't feel like a stretch to switch the names of Marathon's companies with real-life megacorps that exercise their control over people with very little pushback, like Amazon or Microsoft. When Marathon's companies start telling you about how they view governmental intervention with their goals as cumbersome and something that must be avoided at all costs, it's easy to see the real-world parallels.
As a temporary asset, you are not entitled to any worker protections or representation.
What I find fascinating about Marathon's Satire is how it treats player-to-player interaction. I find there to be very little incentive to actually fight other players in Marathon. That's not to say there isn't any incentive. Killing people gets you new gear, it grows your season level, and your season rank is determined by how effectively you kill other runners, but it feels mostly like a pointless endeavor in the grand scheme of the game. It's fun to fight, certainly, but it feels largely illogical, like you have far more to lose than to gain by engaging in combat, and like the game isn't really pushing you to do it. Marathon gives you a gun and a voice in your ear telling you to shoot that guy, but in my time with the game, I haven't found much in the form of incredibly tangible rewards. That hollow feeling tied to the violence feels by design. It feels like we are acting as instructed as a way to prove a point about corporations and their messaging to us about other people. How companies are often the ones guiding culture for their own benefit, guiding culture to push people away from trusting each other and instead put their faith in corporate entities.
Cyber Acme is here for you. I'm here for you.
The combat is an intentional distraction from the overarching goals of corporations. Focus on this. Ignore the feelings of futility. Do not think about what we are doing, because if you do, then maybe New Caloric or Syak or Traxxas becomes the new Shinra. A fate to be avoided at all costs. I wish I played Marathon with other people sooner. It's a completely different game when running duos or trios than it is playing solo. I think it's significantly more fun, but playing with other people in your squad reinforces the artistic message of the game, the lesson I learned without having to learn it the hard way by killing people who are just trying to survive, people who are just like you.
Hang on. I'm just trying to complete a contract. Is that cool?
When you're running with other people, they all have different contracts for different companies. In theory, you should view them the same as the other runners you encounter on Tau Ceti. They are working for counter-corporate bodies, but instead of stopping you from completing your contracts, they're on your side. There is no reason for them helping you or for other runners to shoot you. It is an arbitrary line in the sand, drawn by someone who is not us. What playing duos or trios in Marathon teaches you is that you have infinitely more in common with other runners than you do with the corporations you're running for. Between runners, your contracts might all be different, but your lives and problems are the same. You all know what it's like to deal with the stress that comes from bullets punching holes in the wall just above your head. You all know what it's like to push far beyond what you think your limits are. You all know what it's like to fail again and again and again, to go home empty as your pockets grow lighter and lighter. You have a shared experience, a shared understanding. You are not different. You are, in fact, the same. And there is nothing separating the mindset you should have for the people you're running with from the people you're running from. Because who decided that? These are the people that New Caloric wants you to be afraid of. The people who understand you. Does Syak know what it feels like to bleed out next to your friend in the rain as your own blood stains your synthetic eyes? Self-preservation is a way of life. Aggression as a principle. Violence as a religion. Bullshit. I'm gonna be entirely honest with you. I don't really know much about the lore of Marathon. I'm sure it's interesting and that some people have devoted hours and hours of their lives to learning about Durandal and poring over the many codex entries you unlock as you play, and to decoding the timeline of its events and how the original trilogy of games from the late 90s tie into the most recent entry. But none of that speaks to me. Not really. I'm compelled by the corporate satire, by the way Marathon pushes you to think about the lies companies tell you in the name of creating intentional divides between you and the people around you. I cannot tell you how many jobs I have worked where we were discouraged from and reprimanded for discussing our pay. I worked full-time at a website where I was making roughly $24,000 per year, writing gaming news and guides. It was a soul-crushing job that worked me to the bone, but I heard directly from management that someone had to be let go for talking with people in my role about how poor the rates were. If we wanted to discuss pay, we could only do that with management. This rule is illegal in the United States. Under the National Labor Relations Act, you have the right to discuss wages without fear of repercussion. But what was I gonna do? Get fired? Take on a media conglomerate in court with my $24,000 per year? Every time you load into a run in Marathon, an AI named Oni gives you a bit of advice. It changes run to run, but it always makes me smile.
Engaging affirmation protocol. Assert, you are a winner. Assert, you can do it.
It is such blatant corporate propaganda akin to the hang in there break room poster that it is impossible for me not to think of my old bosses, people who used to give me similar advice without a trace of irony, people who no longer hold any control over me. I catch myself sometimes giving a cheeky "fuck you" to Oni, hoping it somehow finds its way to Vic from the Content Mill, or Nicole from Old Navy, or John from the music store, or whatever that lady's name was from the TV station. I'm not telling you to not kill people in Marathon. That's the point of the game, and it's very fun. But the relationship you have with other runners in the game is a large part of its artistic message. I play Marathon with my friends. We talk about our jobs and how we all hope to break away from them to pursue the things we are passionate about, away from the megacorps that run the real world. These companies don't see us as people. Not on Tau Ceti, not here at home. But I do. Even when you're plunging a knife into my chest and sending me back to the menu with nothing. You're a person to me. One of my favorite parts about Marathon that I didn't touch too much on in this video is its art direction. I find so much of its visual design to be breathtaking and really striking. Something I was thinking about when I was rewatching the Okami episode of Masterful Mimicry, KingK's new video essay series. Masterful Mimicry is a series devoted to unpacking the various artistic elements of different games like Okami, Hollow Knight Silksong, and, in its most recent episode, Cuphead. KingK is someone I really admire in the creator space, and you can watch Masterful Mimicry right now ad-free on Nebula. And while you're there watching his stuff, I'd also recommend his video on Pokemon Fire Red Leaf Green. Nebula is an incredible service where you can find all kinds of thoughtful, ad-free video essay content, among other things. If you're a fan of creators like Jacob Geller, Rasputin, Game Maker's Toolkit, or me, you can check out hours and hours of additional bonus content that you won't be able to find here on YouTube. For example, I make an additional bonus video every month for Nebula subscribers that you're missing out on if you haven't checked out the platform. I think my last few bonus videos about Resident Evil 6 and Metroid Prime 4 are a lot of fun, and you can get a great deal on a Nebula subscription using my link in the description of this video. Subscribers to my channel get 50% off the price of a monthly or yearly Nebula subscription, which is an incredible deal based on the essentially unending stream of content available from other creators outside of the gaming space, like Lindsay Ellis, Big Joel, and now Tom Scott, since he's back making videos. If you sign up using the link in the description of this video, you can start watching for just $2.50 for a month, or $30 for the whole year, or if you're trying to get the absolute best deal possible, you can get 40% off a lifetime Nebula subscription for just $300, down from the $500 base price without my link. Ever since getting my hands on a Nebula subscription myself, it's become one of my go-to apps on my TV. Again, use the link in the description of this video for 50% off a Nebula subscription to support me, while also getting access to a frankly staggering amount of ad-free bonus content. Thank you to Nebula and my supporters on Patreon for making this video possible. Like and subscribe. I've got your back.